Hi guys. I know it says good morning up at the top. Most of you guys are doing this in the morning time, but for those of you that are doing the afternoon or later on at night, good afternoon and good night. So today Miss Acton's gonna be doing reading with you guys. But today is September 28th, 2020. It's Monday. I hope you had a great weekend. The season that we're in right now is the fall, or another word for that is autumn. And I started to notice a lot more leaves falling on the ground this weekend, and a lot of them are starting to change colors, which is exciting. It's one of my favorite times of the year because I like to go outside and not have to worry about sweating. So hopefully you guys get to go out and enjoy the day. Cross my fingers, but I looked at the forecast and it says there might be some rain today. So hopefully there's only a little bit today because we do need some rain. Hasn't rained in a long time. Um, but hopefully not too much to where we can't go outside and enjoy the beautiful fall day. All right, so we are doing reading with Miss Acton today. We're still working on the same thing you worked on with Miss Ramos last week about learning the lesson, the moral of a story. And we're going to be sticking with fables, which is what she was doing last week. We're going to work on what fables are. So the fable that we're going to be reading today is about the turtles and the snake. And notice I said the turtles and the snake because there are going to be two turtles in this story and one snake. All right, so what we're going to be doing today, what will you be doing after today's lesson? You will be saying, I will identify. That just means find the message, lesson learned, moral. Those all three mean the same thing. Message, lesson learned, and moral are all the same thing. So you could just say, I will identify the message of a fable. I will identify the lesson learned of a fable. I will identify the moral of a fable. No matter which one that you choose, it's the same thing. It means just find what it's teaching you. Okay, I will identify the message, lesson learned, moral of a fable by using clues in the story. And when I mean clues, it just means reading close enough to where you're understanding what you're reading, getting those pictures in your brain helps you understand what's going on in the story. Our word fable right here is a different color and underline. That is because we're going to work on what the definition of that is. So let's go to our Jamboard. Let's jam. Shame. Everyone right now, cross your fingers and think happy thoughts with our Jamboard. Because Miss Acton always has trouble with Jamboard. It's always like, oh, we need to reload. We're moving too slow for you. It's not going to happen this time. So everybody cross your fingers, think happy thoughts for just a second. Let's do this. Let's do it. All right, so fable is our word. Fable. Some of you might know the word table. Same word family ends in the A-B-L-E ending sound, but just begins with a T. So it has the same sound. It'll be in the same rhyming family as table, but it's pronounced fable. And what a fable is, the meaning is a story that uses animals to teach. So any fable that Miss Ramos used this past week, I'm almost positive. I didn't get a chance to listen to all of her videos, but I'm pretty sure everyone that she used had animals in them. I know that she used the lion and the mouse, two animals. I know she used the grasshoppers and the ant, or the ant and the ants and the grasshoppers, animals. And I think on Monday you guys had a reading test. I'm not sure what she did on Tuesday. I think it, or one of the days had like two birds in it, maybe like a peacock and a crane. I think animals, and each one of them had a lesson, a moral, or a lesson learned, a moral, or a what was that word? Let me go back. Message, a message to teach. So something that it taught you. Fables, that's usually what's in them. Every now and then there's a person, but usually the person plays a very small, teeny tiny part. Usually the animals are teaching us something. So they use these animals and they put them in these situations, these problems that make a story. And at the end, it helps you learn something new. It teaches you a lesson or a moral. So every time that you read a fable, you should leave it feeling more knowledgeable, more wise about things that are going on in the world around you. So don't just take it as just a story to enjoy. Every time that you hear a fable, you should say, I need to pay attention because it's going to teach me something that I can use for the rest of my life to teach me how to be a better person, how to go through life better, how to become a better adult. Even though I know you're kiddos, you got to start thinking that way because before you know, you're going to be in high school looking for a job, trying to drive a car, applying to colleges, and you can't do that stuff acting like a kid anymore. So right now is a perfect chance to take a story that Miss Acton's about to read to you and turn it into a lesson that you can make yourself more of an adult today, okay? All right, so the fable, let's work on drawing it to make our definition. So a story that teaches us, or a story that uses animals to teach. So the first thing here is a story. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to grab my marker, I'm going to do black. I'm going to draw as best as I can a book. And that book will represent a story. So maybe this page has some words, and maybe this page has a drawing on it of some sort. We got water, maybe a tree on it. Yeah, so we got a story. You can draw the book cover on the outside. Yeah, so we got a story. So a story that teaches, that uses animals. So we need to draw some animals. Let's add some more colors in there. Let's do, well, the one that we're using today has a turtle in it. So let's draw us a turtle. And he's got little legs on the side. Beautiful turtle. And if you're at home right now watching this, don't you dare laugh at my drawings because they are fantastic. I know he's got like shapes on his shell, so I add some shapes on his shell. Yeah. Titus. Sorry, that's my puppy dog. Titus. Nobody wants to hear that dude. He's like licking his paw, and you hear his tongue slapping. All right, so an animal, another animal that's also easy to draw that is also in our story is a snake. Zoo. Put a head on him. Then we follow the squiggly that we made, making a little tail. Let's get him a red tongue sticking out, making his. They usually have forked tongues, making a sound. Grabbing an eyeball. Oh, we didn't give our turtle some eyeballs. Here you go, little turtle. There's your eyeballs. Little eyeballs for everybody. So a story, we got that right there, that uses animals to teach. So how could we show teach in a drawing? Like when you teach, like you get smarter maybe. So maybe we could draw like somebody's face. And I know people who wear glasses aren't just smart because they wear glasses, but we usually show someone who has glasses that is maybe reading a story and is very into it. Normally, is shown as somebody who wears glasses can show that they're just paying really extra close to attention. And then maybe we could draw like a big brain in there. I don't know if I can draw a brain very well in here. Ugh, brains have all the squigglies in them. Blech. And he's getting all this knowledge going into his brain. Yeah, it's going in there. He's like a big sponge. When you're learning new stuff and your brain's getting bigger and you're getting more knowledgeable, you don't have a smile. So let's change his face to a smile. So if you're like skip to this video, you'd have no idea like what is this on top of this dude's head. But since you are with me, you'll understand. Okay, that's a brain. That's it. Her showing us that when you take a story and you add animals in it and we get more knowledgeable, we get wiser. It teaches us something. All of that put together gives us a fable definition. All right, so let's use it in a sentence. So let's think about maybe like the fables you read with Miss Ramos last week. Miss Acton's about to read you a fable. And what fables' main purpose is. What do they do? What's their most important thing? Why do people write these fables and ask kids and adults to read them? Right, fables are used to teach us, right? So I'm going to say to help us. So when I mean us, I mean just anyone who reads a fable, to help us be more, and I love that word wise, to be more wise. Or you can also say to be more, to be smarter, to learn some more lessons to become a better person, to help us be more wise, we should read. Oh, terrible E. Read a. Oh, really close. Hey, Fable, don't you dare laugh at Miss Acton's handwriting. She's trying her best. Oh my gosh, so the most of this looks pretty good. When I get to Fable, oh my gosh, it's cracking me up. Look at that bee. Like it's so tall and itty bitty at the bottom. That gave me a good laugh. So yeah, so you all should know by the end of all of this goofiness and Miss Acton trying her best to draw all these wonderful animals and showing what it means to get smarter with a picture and all of this with our definition, using it in a sentence to help us be more wise. We should read a fable. Hopefully you all understand. Sorry, a bug on my chin. Hopefully now you are like, okay, a fable. So probably gonna have animals in it and I need to read it because it's going to teach me something. It's going to make me more wise, going to make me smarter, going to help me become more mature and closer to being an adult, which is, what everyone should strive to do every day. All right, so back to our PowerPoint. All right, so we know what a fable means. So now we need to go into our story, try to find those clues in the story to help us identify what the message, the lesson learned, and the moral is in a story, okay? So before we get started, these are some come on. There we go. These are some posters that Miss Just or Miss Ramos used last week. I didn't want to redo them because you are used to seeing these, so I didn't want to make my own or copy hers and make it my own. I said I'm going to keep the same ones they used last week because I don't want to make it too crazy for them. It should be consistent. You guys should be hearing the same words from me, Miss Ramos, and Miss Just when we're teaching you guys this stuff, okay? So the moral or lesson of the story. So the lesson of the story will teach us something, make you wiser, influence us. Oh my gosh, I love that word influence. Just means it's pushing you towards doing something better. So when I'm influenced by something, it touches me so deeply that it changes my thinking. Tells us how to think. Yeah, so it's telling you, oh, maybe doing those things aren't what you need to do to be a better person. Try doing this, and they tell us how to act. So thinking is kind of what you think in your brain, but then a lot of us how we think is how we act, how we make our bodies move. So it's influencing us to how we think, and then how we think is going to change how we act to somebody. And I have a perfect example. So let's say that Miss Acton is going to a grocery store and I see a guy and he's dressed really sloppy. He's got tears in his clothes and he's really dirty and he stinks and his hair is not brushed and it's really long, which is, not a lot of men keep their hair really, really long. And if they do, it's normally washed and brushed, but this man's is not. And originally what I think is, oh, this guy's gross. He doesn't smell good. He's not clean. He's got dirty clothes. I don't want to be around him and I'm going to avoid him. But then I hear him tell somebody that he's homeless. He doesn't have a home. Um, he maybe went to war and saw some things that he didn't want to see whenever he was younger, and it affected him to where he wasn't able to hold a job because he was scared all the time. And when you don't have a job, you can't afford to pay for a house and pay the bills, the water, the electric. And then eventually he had to just live on the streets and ask people to give him money to survive, to be able to eat from day to day. Um, so after I hear this person telling this story, I'm being taught something that this man isn't just dirty because he wants to be, he has no other choice. He's had some hard things happen in his life that has made him have to be here outside of this grocery store and not have the best clothes and not have a shower and not have cleanness and cleanliness and all that stuff. And so the story has influenced me to change to make myself better. And so now I'm thinking, okay, it's not because he's just a yucky, stinky guy. Now I'm thinking this poor man has not had as nice of a life as I have. And now that's going to tell me how to act Now, instead of me just saying, oh, I want to get away from him, now I'm like, hey, I have some change in my wallet. I have a few dollars. I'm going to give it to this man so that he can go buy him something nice to eat. Or, hey, I'm going into this store. Maybe I could buy him like a sweatshirt because I know it's supposed to get cold tonight. I can give him a nice, clean sweatshirt that might help him keep warm tonight because I know he doesn't have a home to go to. So that's a perfect example of something that you guys might see on a daily basis, just like Miss Acton might see that in the real world. So every day you guys are learning lessons and they're teaching you something and then they're influencing you, which is changing the way that you think, and then the way that you think is going to make you act in a different way, hopefully in a better way. Okay. All right. So let's keep moving. All right. So how we're going to be going through this story, Miss Acton's going to be doing this on every single part of the story that I tell you. We're going to stop and talk about the main character and describe them in one word: good, bad, nice, happy, sad. Might even think of a different word. We're going to think about that character every single time we get to the beginning, the middle, beginning, the middle, and the end. And there's going to be one beginning, there's going to be two parts to the middle, and then there's going to be one part to the end. And every time that we get to that beginning, the middle, and the end, and we're thinking about the character and describing them with one word, we're going to talk about what did the character learn? Not so much how the character changed yet, because I feel like you guys got that last week. Miss Just or Miss Ramos asked you all a bunch of questions about that. We're gonna talk about what the character learned, because what that character is learning is gonna be the moral, the lesson learned, the oh my gosh, I keep forgetting this one. The lesson learned, the moral, the why can't I think of that one? I keep losing that one. Miss Acton needs to practice it. Let's keep going back. The message. It's another M word. The message, the lesson learned, the moral of the story. So this last one down here where it says, and I know that thing keeps covering it up, says, what did the character learn? We're going to focus mainly on that one more because that's going to teach us and guide us to what the message, the moral, and the lesson learned of the story is. Excuse me. All right, so like I said, I'm going to have these little reminders here with you guys to remind us that, hey, we need to think about that main character again. We need to think about them either in the beginning, the middle, and the end, and I'll tell you what slide that we're on, which one that is, and what did they learn? What are they learning so far? Okay. And hopefully you're going to notice as we go from the beginning to the middle to the end, that main character's learning is going to change. Just like your learning should change after you read this story. Okay. All right. So the story that we're reading today is called The Turtles and the Snakes. There's some characters are going to be turtles and snakes. No humans in this story because it's a fable. All right, so let's get started. Once upon a time, there was a tiny turtle swimming in a pond. He was having a great day when a slimy, sneaky snake slithered very close to him. The snake said, "This is my pond now. I'm bigger than you. I'm smarter than you. I deserve this pond. I need you to leave." Let's stop. The main character. We've got the tiny turtle, but I want us to focus on the character that's doing the most meanness, the most badness, the most, oh, he's just yucky. We already don't like him. That's the character I want us to focus on. The tiny turtle is going to be pretty nice and doesn't really make too much of a difference in this story. He kind of is just there, but he's not treated very fairly right now by that mean snake. So that snake is what I want us to focus on. He's our character. This is the beginning of the story. We just started it. So it's the beginning. What are we learning about this character? What is he learning? He's definitely learning he's bigger. He's definitely learning that he's smarter. So I'm going to take a guess that this tiny turtle, since he's tiny, he's probably a young turtle. And the snake is probably full grown, realizes that he's bigger than this turtle, and realizes he's smarter, and realizes that this pond has got it going on, and he wants this pond. So I want it all to myself. There's this little itty bitty turtle here, doesn't know any better. I'm going to push him out of here, and I get this all to myself. All right, let's go to the next part. Ugh. The tiny turtle didn't fight back. He went to the edge of the pond and laid on the beach, watching the snake enjoy the pond. All of a sudden, from under the water, a huge turtle, 10 times the size of the tiny turtle, huge, went from this big to this big, huge, came to the top of the water right next to that mean snake. So now we have a new character, but he hasn't been in the story the whole time, so he's definitely not our main character. That's still the snake. The tiny turtle's still hanging out, but again, he's not really doing too much. He's kind of just listening and doing what the mean snake's telling him to. So we're still focused on that mean snake. This is the middle of the story. The beginning's done and gone, and we haven't gotten to the end yet. So this is the middle of the story. What are we learning about this snake? Not only did he make this tiny turtle get out of the pond and sit on the edge of the beach, but now he's just swimming around, flaunting it in front of the little turtle. Poor turtle, he's just got to sit there and watch the snake flopping around, enjoying this lovely water. But as this big turtle comes up right next to him in the water, I'm thinking that his learning, what he's got going on in that brain, is about to change. Let's see what happens. The bigger turtle went to the edge of the pond and asked the tiny turtle, Son, son? Why would he call him son? Let's keep reading. Son, why are you not enjoying the water in the pond? Why? Okay, so we got a bigger turtle that's in the same pond as the little turtle. He comes up, sees the little turtle, goes over to the edge and says, Son, why are you not enjoying the water in the pond? Who is this bigger turtle? Yeah, he's the tiny turtle's dad. Yeah, good. All right, so our main character, right now, there's no snake in sight. It's the big turtles talking to the little turtle. But right now, imagine what the snake's doing in the background. So this information isn't given to you on this page. You have to use your brain, infer, use that extra special thinking that you would do in your brain to infer about what is that snake doing in the background. So this big turtle just came out of nowhere. He's going and talking to the small turtle, and he calls the small turtle son. That snake is not a dummy. He's a smart snake. He immediately, hopefully, is thinking, oh no, that's the dad turtle. I am in trouble. If I was him, I'd be out of there by now. Let's see what happens. The tiny turtle replied, The snake told me this was his pond, so I left. Uh-oh. Sorry that keeps popping up, guys. You know Miss Acton's always having trouble with her cursor. Okay. The bigger turtle turned his huge body toward that mean snake. Oh, turned towards him. I don't like bullies, especially in my pond, he said with a growl. Oh, he said with a growl. He's angry. The mean snake went from being very mean to very scared. He knew this pond was not safe for him anymore. The snake left the pond as fast as he could. All right, so our snake is back in this page, and this is definitely the end of the story. Okay, so the big turtle gave him a warning. He said, I don't like bullies, especially in my pond. So that snake thought that he was going to bully that tiny snake or that tiny turtle out of there and going to have it all to himself. But he didn't think that maybe there might be somebody else living in this pond that he needs to worry about. And he was wrong. So our main character, the snake, at the end of the story learns that you can't just be mean to anybody. And it's not okay to be mean to somebody, okay? So don't be mean just because you can, because there might be somebody else right there that might be standing up for that small person that you're being mean to, right? Might be a bigger person right around the corner. So hopefully, as you're reading this and you were taking in the main character and the other characters too, how they were changing from the beginning to the middle to the end, what they were learning as they were going on, so that you can take this information and you can use it to make yourself a better person. Okay, so let's take a look a little closer. Oh my gosh. All right, so Miss Acton, just from reading this story, um, I said, don't be mean just because you can. Okay, so I think that that's definitely the main I definitely think that that is the main. Sorry, I'm trying to figure out why I disappeared. I don't know. I'm still here, guys. You can't see my picture. So I don't think that the main thing that we should have learned is don't be mean just because you can. That snake knew he could be mean to that little turtle, but did he have to? Of course not. That pond, unless it was, as big as your hand, would have plenty of room for a snake. I mean, ponds usually aren't teeny tiny pieces of water. They're normally pretty big. Definitely big enough for a turtle and a snake. Turtles can't that live in the water don't get that big. And plus this is a tiny turtle and the snake's bigger than him, but if he's tiny, he can't be that much bigger. Why can't they share the pond with each other? Right? So he didn't have to be mean to this turtle. He chose to be mean to this turtle. So don't be mean just because you can. So that's what the fable, because this is a fable that's been read for years and years and years. And if you read this fable, if you find it in a book or on a website, this will tell you that this is the moral, the message, the lesson learned of the story is don't be mean just because you can. But I took a few other things from this, and you may have too. So I felt like someone is always bigger than you. So I feel like, if you find somebody who's smaller than you, both in size and maybe, in their smarts, maybe they might not be as smart as you. A great example of that might be a teacher and a student. A teacher is normally always smarter than the student is and usually knows more than them. But just because that their brain's bigger than you, or just because maybe their body's bigger than you, doesn't mean that there isn't someone else that's bigger than you. A great example of that might be like if you have a coach and you play soccer and you miss a goal, you go to kick the ball into the net and you completely miss, and your coach starts yelling at you, you know better than that. You need to make sure you make that goal. You're the reason we lost this game. But then that player's got a big mean daddy. He's a big old guy, played football in high school, and he's got big arms, and he's really tall, and he can be really mean if you get mad at his son comes over. That soccer coach wasn't expecting that. So don't be mean to somebody because someone that is close to them and that loves them might be bigger than you. So someone is always bigger than you. And then the last one is everyone has a friend keeping them safe. That's kind of the same thing. So, if you're out in the playground and you're picking on somebody, they go get their friend that might be bigger, smarter than you. They might stand up for them and you might feel like you might not be able to be mean to that person anymore. So basically the story teaches us is don't be mean. Just don't. It's not a nice thing to do. Right. So then Miss Acton has some questions that she had about this, but our video is going super long, so I'm not going to go over those questions too slow with you. So the five W's are who, what, when, where, and why. And there's also how questions, but you're talking about that one. So who was the big turtle? We found out that that big turtle, he said a special word. What was it? Son. He called the little turtle, the tiny turtle, his son. So who was the big turtle? The big turtle was the little turtle's daddy, and he was ready to fight that snake. What does the snake want? The snake wants the pond all to himself, and that is not very nice. When does the bigger turtle come into the story? Um, The bigger turtle's in the story when it's definitely the middle of the story. It's not the beginning, it's not the end, but he comes in whenever he comes up from out of the water and sees that his son, the tiny turtle, is sad on the beach instead of swimming in the water. Where did the tiny turtle go after the snake was mean? He went to the beach and was sad watching the snake enjoy the water. The tiny turtle went to the side of the pond, the beach. Why did Big Turtle tell the snake to leave? Big Turtle told the snake to leave because he doesn't like bullies, especially bullies that are being a bully to his son, Tiny Turtle. And there's no room for bullies in that pond because they seem to all be happy swimming in that pond together. So he definitely kicked him out. All right, guys. So excuse me. So that is the end of our story. So now you're going to go into your classwork and look up your reading, answer some questions about the turtles and the snake, and really think about the lesson that you learned, and then try to take the lesson that you learned about being nice. Don't be mean just because you can. You should always be nice to people. And maybe try to use that with your families today while you're at home. Your brother. that, maybe gets on your nerves because he, plays his video game too loud or he steals your snacks or something like that. Maybe try being nice to him this morning, and then maybe he won't do those things to you. It's tiny little things like that where you could be nicer. Miss Acton thinks about when her husband gets home. Me just reading the story makes me think when my husband gets home, sometimes I'm like, the dishes haven't been done in like 2 days. Can you do them? I could be nicer. Maybe say, hey, how was your day? Oh, good. Yeah, you look tired. Well, maybe you could like sit down and watch a little bit of TV. And then once you do that, could you help me with the dishes? Yeah, maybe just be a little bit nicer. So think about that as the day goes on and how you can take this story and use it in your life to be a little bit nicer to people that are around you. Okay. All right. You guys have a good day. I'm waving at you even though my camera went away. I promise I'm waving to you though. Have a great rest of your day and I will see you tomorrow. All right. Bye.